Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is still Good Morning Abuja on NT Channel 5, the Unity Station. This time we want to discuss self-confidence in leadership. And we have someone who is a strategic communication advisor, to join us and discuss this topic. So please join me as I welcome Mercy Ndi Bala.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes,
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Wow. So my first question, strategic communication advisor. What do you do for someone who is wondering, So what do you do?
So basically coming from my corporate background, because I work with a corporate organization, telecommunications specifically, it started from retail advisor, and then from there it graduated to strategic communication advisor. And I actually studied it in school as my master's, actually.
Oh,
yes, I studied it in school as my master's. And then I later on find out that, or rather, will I say, I discover that I'm able to craft a message and communicate with people strategically. So when people come to me for a solution, I'll basically say solution provider, right? So when they have a problem and they want me to solve that problem, I kind of strategically find a solution and solve the problem rather than randomly doing it like every other person. Yes.
Wow, that's a unique one. Yes. Okay, I think that explains it. Now let's look at the importance of self-confidence. First, in a layman's language, what is self-confidence?
Self-confident is this magic presence you carry, It's a presence that commands, let's say, it commands authenticity.
Okay.
It commands authority.
Okay.
So basically, that is what self-confidence carry. There's not too much English around it. Yes, it's just that your authenticity.
So it's like holding your head high.
Yes, being who you are, knowing who you are.
Being proud of who you are.
Yes, not basically proud. We don't use the word proud. But just knowing who you are. And you are, like, you take your stand. You know that this is who I am and nothing can change that.
Wow. So let's look at the importance.
So it's very important for individuals to be self-confident, and it cut across all age. It's not like young people, whether you are young, middle age, old, it's very important depending on any aspect of life you find yourself. It's very important because it helps you to be able to achieve whatever it is you set your mind to achieve quickly, rather than just like being laid back and,
feeling
intimidated and having this mediocre kind of lifestyle, or feeling average. So it brings you out there and it showcases to the world that this is what you can bring to the market. This is what you can do. So it's very important.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's look at for a leader, we're talking about leadership now. What happens to a leader who does not have self-confidence, who is not self-confident?
Okay, so, I talked about authenticity. I talked about presence. Basically, in the area of leadership, I'm very much interested in women leadership, and I kind of concentrate on executive presence, self-advocacy, and then I also focus on, let's say, there's what they call imposter syndrome. I focus on that too.
Okay.
Yes. So it's very important when it comes to self-leadership, and when it comes to leadership, because you can't lead people without confidence. And you can't also lead yourself without confidence.
Without honesty.
Yes. So you have to, irrespective of what you have gone through in life, you have to be able to embrace the fact that first, I lack the confidence. So what can I do to embrace the fact that, because you have to embrace the fact that you lack it for you to be able to start.
Acknowledge the fact.
Thank you. For you to start looking at ways what can I do? Whom can I be with
to
be able to build my self-confidence to be the person I want to be?
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, now let's look at the qualities of a leader who has this self-confidence. Let's look at the quality.
So, a self-confident person in leadership, one of the qualities, you talk about qualities, right?
Yes.
One of the quality that a self-confident person has is the ability for the person to self-advocate for himself.
Okay.
A self-confident person or leader doesn't need anybody to sing the praises for him or her.
Okay.
They know who they are. That's one of the first quality, knowing who you are.
Mm.
And then knowing even where you come from and know where you're going.
to.
Yes, that is one of the quality.
Mm.
I also mentioned authenticity. If you are not authentic to what you know, to who you are, you can't be able to attend to that leadership position or quality you want.
Okay.
Yes. And then secondly, we also have what I call self-advocacy. You have to advocate for what you have achieved over time, or your accomplishments. Those are the traces of a quality of a leader who has self-confidence, because they are not afraid of telling you what they have actually achieved over time. They are not afraid of telling you their accomplishments. They tell you, and then the rest tell the story.
Okay, now let's look at what would I call it? The steps. Steps one need to take, especially like we are talking about leaders. The steps one can take to build one's self-confidence for those who do not have it.
So, let me talk about the imposter syndrome first. Then I'll talk about
syndrome. Okay.
So the imposter syndrome, I call it an unwanted companion.
Unwanted.
That is
true. Unwanted.
Yes, that is always with you to your road to success.
Okay.
So that imposter syndrome, it's what always is that tiny voice that always tells you are not good enough.
Or you can't do it.
Or you can't do it. So it brings out this self-doubt to you. I'll give you an example. Even I come in here, I heard the voice, like you're coming to face the camera, that kind of stuff. But I felt even in the mix of the fear, I still need to assume the courage. To be able to do whatever I'm doing here, the interview that I'm actually giving here. So as the imposter syndrome normally voices and make you
like the negative voice.
Yes, to make you have that self-doubt. First, embrace it that the fear is there. But for the fact that the fear is there, that doesn't mean I'm going to project it out there. I am going to exhume that confidence and come out of whatever it is that I have in there and project myself positively.
Wow. Let's look at a leader who lacks self-confidence. What happens? What are the, I don't know, what are the, should I call them disadvantages?
Yes, disadvantages.
Okay, so let's look at that.
So, someone who is self-confident is, first, you are able to lead yourself. You're able to lead yourself. And once you're able to lead yourself, you'll be able to lead others. Whether it's as a team or whether it's an organization. It cut across even executives, people that are in the middle class, and people that are in the lower management level. That's what I'm talking. So it cut across everybody. It doesn't really focus on just. So if you don't accept the fact that you have a team to lead, an organization to lead, and then you will have to look inward and see those steps that you need to take in order to build. From example, you need mentorship.
Okay.
Yes, those that have been there, done that. You need to mingle with them or approach them and tell them, I want you to mentor me.
Like a role model.
A role model, thank you. You need to seek out mentorship on how you can grow up your self-confidence if you know that you can't do it on your own. Because it's very important to be able to lead yourself first before you lead any other person or organization or team out there. So one of the quality that I'm going to, one of the advantages that I'm going to talk about is the mentorship aspect, which is very important. It cannot be emphasized.
It's becoming interesting because a lot of people will say, okay, for a leader who doesn't have that self-confidence, there's going to be trouble. I tell you, in leadership, definitely, because the person won't be firm enough to take decisions. We'll go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue. All right, we've been talking about self-confidence in leadership. Let's go on this break, and when we return, the discussion will continue. Please don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Yes, we are still discussing self-confidence in leadership. Okay, so let's talk about lack of it. Lack of self-confidence, the effect of it on leadership.
Basically, lack of self-confidence for a lot of people comes from the background, foundation, and their experiences over time, you know. And because of individual different experiences, which is negative actually. Let me give you an example. Someone who comes from a family background where whether uncle, auntie, or even their own biological parent tell them you are not good enough, you will never amount to anything. Those kind of voices are the side effect of making a lot of people out there not having self-confidence.
Okay.
Because there's a voice always telling
Always
them, you're
telling
not
you
good
are not
enough.
good enough.
No, you can never amount to
like
anything.
your, what will I call them? Second class.
Yes, you're not amount to anything. So
anything,
that voice is always there. So even if they know that they can project that confidence, they can. That voice keeps speaking to them. So
and that's why we should be careful what we say.
the voice, the things we tell our fellow
honestly,
humans, yes, because
honestly.
it really affects us
Yeah.
negatively. So that's one of the negative impact that affects people when it comes to self-leadership or when it comes to leading other people. So, and the question you asked again,
Lack. When a leader lacks self-confidence,
so that is one
effect of it.
So that is one of the reasons why leaders lack confidence. It is that voice that keep telling them that they are not good enough and they can't. Right. Then secondly, we have to deal with internal issues, right? That maybe when it comes to anger, all this bitterness, envy, you have to deal with it. Because when you allow these internal issues consume you, there is no way you'll be able to exude confidence out there. Right. So it's more of working on yourself internally, because what is in the inside
is what
comes out. Yes. So you have to work on yourself from the inside before you be able to exude the self. But like I said, the two major effect or lack of it is where you're coming from, the background where you're coming from, the voices, the negative voices that are in your head telling you are not good enough. And then also your own experiences that affect you internally, which brings about bitterness, enviness, and all those stuffs.
Okay, let's look at in an organization where responsibility is given to someone or a leadership position is given to someone who lacks confidence, self-confidence.
Okay, so
what happens?
So some people are born leaders.
Okay.
Some are servant leaders.
Oh, servant leaders.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Well, some are just followers.
Oh.
They
born leaders, servant leaders,
and followers. Yes.
Okay.
You find them in organizations, you find them at home, you find them in politics, any sphere they are there. So there are people who unfortunately they assume the role of leadership, but they're not leaders. And that is why you find out that the moment they assume that role, they messed up the whole thing. Everything is just messed up. Nothing works well because that is not the rule. So it's not even the aspect of the lack leadership. They are not even leaders in the first place. They're lucky. There's no.
So they're supposed to be followers.
Exactly. Then born leaders, they know it. No matter how they try to avoid it, I'll say there's a way the universe works that before you know it, it comes out.
They are organizers.
Yes, they just fit into it. Yes, they just fit into it and everything starts working. People will even start sensing that this person, this person is going to lead us.
And they begin to give the person responsibility.
Yes, exactly. Then the servant leader learn. The servant leader learn. He sees his superior and he learns under him. And so when the superior is no longer there, he steps into the superior
shoes.
And then before you know it, he assumed that authority or that position as a leader. Now, in an organization, a leader is actually different from a boss. A boss is a boss. A boss just gives directives and everything.
Honestly.
Exactly. But a leader actually serves. A leader serves.
And there's empathy.
Thank you.
A leader has empathy.
A leader has empathy. He sees that thing in you and he helps you bring out. So where does the empathy come? The empathy comes because he's been there, done that. He has worked on himself or herself. He or she were able to humble themselves to kind of follow the other person, to learn from the superior person. So because they did that, they'll be able to show empathy to the other person who also is trying to learn or who wants to assume the position of leadership.
Wow.
Yes.
And then the follower.
The follower is just a follower. Honestly, the follower is just a follower. The follower just take directive. The followers just take motivations. The follower get inspired. Yes. But I can assure you that there are some that they're just followers. Once they assume the position of that thing, they messed up
The
the whole
mess of
thing.
the whole
Yes.
thing. All right. Let's look at how a leader can balance, leadership, self-confidence, humility, and empathy. How can a leader balance
That's
that?
a very good question because a lot of people get it all wrong. So I can assure you that a lot of people mistaking confidence for rudeness.
Okay.
Yes. A lot of people mistaking. They don't know how to differentiate when somebody is confident
And when
and when
somebody is
somebody is
rude.
rude. Yes. So they think that when you are confident, you are rude. No. You know, one of the quality of even self-leadership is that when you are communicating with someone, looking into the person's eyes,
Contact.
contact, yes,
Yeah.
making contact. But I could also tell you that it's also kind of conflicting with our own African kind of culture or Nigeria kind of culture. Because an elder person would not want to see a younger person making eye
yes.
contact, even if you are confident, you know. But the white man tells us that no, if you want to assume confidence, you have to look into. Yes. So it's kind of conflicting depending on how you see it and where you find yourself. For some, they would like you to actually look into make that eye contact
Yeah.
when you are conversing with me or when you are
Some will see that when you look down, they will say you are rude.
Exactly.
Say you're rude. I'm talking to you. You're looking elsewhere. So you're rude.
So you have to be able to find that balance. I don't know how to put it, but I think it's based on your responsibility to be depending on
the kind of people you have
the
around
kind of people you have around you
Yeah.
and the environment you find yourself.
Wow,
Yes.
wow. Thank you so much. This is interesting. This is interesting. We have a leader and we have a boss.
Yes.
We have we have a leader, we have a follower.
We have a follower, we have a servant leader,
a servant
and
leader,
a born leader.
and a born leader. Yes. So thank you so much. I want to ask. I know you're a born leader. The way you're Thank you so much. Yes, we've been speaking with Mercy Ndi Bala. Yes. Thank you so much. She is a strategic communication advisor. Okay, thank you so much for coming.
Yes,
so, which are you? Are you a born leader? Are you a follower? Or are you a what?
Servant leader.
Servant leader, whichever one. And then
our politicians will say, I'm a servant leader.
And remember that if you don't have self-confidence, you can actually build one. You can make up your mind and build your self-confidence. And remember, being self-confident is not rudeness. So know when you're rude and when you're trying to prove to someone that you have self-confidence. The program is still Good Morning Abuja. Let's go on a break, and when we return, we'll continue.